After the introduction of the oil embargo and the refusal of the EU and the UK to ensure transport from the Federation, Russia redirected the flow of raw materials to India, Turkey and China. The situation was resolved by the G7 countries and the EU by introducing an oil price cap. But Russia has outplayed itself in the issue of gas exports. Wishing to freeze Europe, the Kremlin closed its valve. But Ukraine's partners managed without Russian fuel in 2022 and 2023. So Russia's oil and gas revenues are declining.
The drop in the budget as a whole was more than by a third already in the first quarter of 2023. Russia actually wiped out the budget deficit that had been planned for the year. The figures in the Russian economy are good, but the processes that are taking place in the economy are fueling inflation. They are devaluing the ruble, and they are reducing the purchasing power of wages and pensions and the incomes of all those who do not work directly for the war and do not fight in the war.
The import substitution course has also failed. Dependence on China has led to the monopolization of high-tech markets in the Federation by Chinese companies. The Kremlin pours the main budget funds into the military-industrial complex. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to push for further strengthening of sanctions pressure on the aggressor country.
I support the introduction of sanctions against Russian diamonds. This is quite a significant item of revenue for the Russian budget. But at the same time, I still single out the element that concerns the ban on the transport of Russian oil by a vessel that violates the sanctions regime by the European Union. I believe that this should be blocked. If a vessel is traveling and the vessel violates the sanctions regime, it is not even a question of who it is trading with. It means that such a vessel should not pass through the territorial waters of the European Union.
The EU unified policy of supporting Ukraine has also been tested by Hungary. Budapest has repeatedly tried to block restriction packages against the Federation.
That is why there are now discussions about changing the approach to decision-making. That is to move away from that approach and talk about a qualified majority of decision-making. The Russian Federation is trying to look for allies. One of the main allies for the Russian Federation right now is Iran. They have already signed a treaty on joint efforts to counter Western sanctions.
Iran and North Korea continue to supply Russia with the arms and ammunition. Isolated from the civilized world, Russia is looking for partners among similar rock countries. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Larisa Zubenko, UATV News.